Well, welcome to another edition of Win TV. It's December. It's cold, but we're still here. I'm your host, Denise Rolark Barnes, publisher of the Washington Informer, and I hope you've had a chance to pick up a copy of this week's edition of the Washington Informer. We've got some great news, but some of it I'm looking forward to sharing with you today. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But you can pick up a copy just about all over the DMV. You can also read the digital edition here online at www.washingtoninformer.com. If you're watching on Facebook, please share so your followers can see the broadcast. And if you're watching on Twitter, be sure to follow us and we'll follow you back. We always say that, and we're looking for you to follow us. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Washington Informer TV. That's one word, Washington Informer TV. Well, for those of you who were hoping for help with your student loans, the student loan forgiveness program remains blocked. It remains blocked. Yeah, for those who are Black, it's even worse because, everybody needs the chance to get these loans forgiven. There's so many young people out there that are just struggling just to keep their heads above water because of just trying to keep these loans paid for. But oral arguments are scheduled for the Supreme Court in February. And if that happens, when that happens, we still may not have a decision until June. Let me ask you, what have you paid for gas recently? Well, according to AAA, gas prices have plunged to their lowest level since February, and the price of crude oil has fallen as well. So that's a good thing for those who've been doing some road traveling. I mean, any kind of reprieve we can get, I know we are looking forward to it. Well, we send our condolences to the residents of Virginia and the family of Representative A. Donald McEachin, who died on Monday. He died suddenly on Monday. It's really sad. But his funeral will be held in Richmond, Virginia on December the 7th. So our hearts and prayers go out to him, the folks of Virginia, and his family. We know winter is supposed to arrive December 21st. However, temperatures could fall well before that date. Please note that the DC Department of Human Services and Homeland Security and Emergency Management Agency have a cold emergency plan to help protect residents against low temperatures. And it's getting cold, y'all. It's getting really cold. So DC activates the cold emergency plan when temperatures and wind chills drop to 15 degrees Fahrenheit, or when the temperature or wind chill is at 20 degrees. So I'm just saying, when we get ready for the MLK parade, which is coming up on on January 16th, we know what it's like to be out there with those cold wind chills, and hopefully we will have warmer weather. But for those who don't have a choice or a place to go, there are overnight warming centers open from 7 to 7, and we'll try to put together a list of the locations for those shelters. So we want to make sure that if you see someone who is experiencing homelessness and needs to find a shelter to go to, there's a shelter hotline, which is 202-399-7093. Again, that's 202-399-7093. Or you can just dial 311 and include the time, address, location of where you saw a person who you believe could use a warm place to go, and describe their appearance so that the shelter team can come and take them to a warm place. You just might be saving someone's life. Today, we want to introduce to you our new managing editor of the Washington Informer, Misha Green. She comes to us with expertise in print and digital publishing, and you'll meet Misha in just a few minutes. We're anxious to get her here so that you can meet her. But we also have joining us Lisa Butler McDougall, president of the Seed Excel Public Charter School, who'll talk to us about the Excel School's opening for 2023 enrollment in Prince George's County. And then there's a big event taking place in about a week. The Washington Association of Black Journalists is celebrating its Black excellence in journalism and communications. And joining us to talk about the upcoming gala will be the organization's vice president, Annalisa Gale. And it's holiday shopping time, you all. You know, we did the Black Friday thing, but we got to continue because we're trying to get gifts for all our family and friends. And so we want to talk to, or looking forward to talking to, Irene Whalen, owner of Zawadi African Gallery and Boutique. And she's going to share with us some of the wonderful handcrafted ornaments that she has on display for purchase, and also all the other great gifts. This is just a wonderful, wonderful time if you're shopping to support Black businesses. So before we welcome our first guest, let's watch our news broadcast by Curtis Knowles.
This is WIN TV News, bringing you the news that matters. Democrats on Wednesday elected New York Representative Hakeem Jeffries as the party's leader, making him the first Black person to ever head a major political party in Congress. The congressman has maintained a vow to oppose Republican extremism and takes the reins from longtime House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who earlier this month stepped down from the party leadership role she held for nearly 2 decades. Jeffries commented saying, quote, "It's a solemn responsibility that we are inheriting, and the best thing that we can do as a result of the seriousness and solemnity of the moment is lean in hard and do the best damn job that we can do for the people." Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin recently proposed changes to the state's history curriculum that erases mentions of slavery, institutional racism, and prominent figures of color, and further centers white conservative ideology and Greco-Roman history as foundational elements of American culture. In response to the public outcry against the proposed changes, Virginia's Board of Education voted in November to delay the curriculum update so that the community input and elements of an earlier version could be incorporated. Andrea Weiskopf, a North Virginia resident and teacher, said, quote, "Whether it's Youngkin's snitch line or the attack on transgender students or his so-called policy on sexually explicit material, it's all designed as an attack on the public school system to shape America in, quote, their image." The San Francisco Board of Supervisors voted to pass a policy that would allow officers to use ground-based robots to kill. Quote, "When risk of loss of life to members of the public or officers is imminent, and officers cannot subdue the threat after using alternative force options or de-escalation tactics. The measure must pass a second vote at a meeting next week and ultimately must be approved by the mayor before becoming city law. The policy, which was first proposed in September, was amended to include the provision allowing lethal force at the request of the San Francisco Police Department. Robert Rueka, the SFPD department spokesperson, said that the SFPD does not possess armed robots and does not plan to outfit its robots with firearms. He described a scenario in, quote, "extreme circumstances similar to the one that played out in Dallas, in which a robot could be equipped with explosives to breach a fortified structure or, quote, contact, incapacitate, or disorient a dangerous suspect without the risk of life of an officer."
All right. Thank you so very much, Curtis Knowles. And ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to have seated beside me our new managing editor of the Washington Informer. She is no stranger to the Washington Informer, and definitely no stranger to people in Washington, D.C., no stranger to the journalism community, no stranger to government officials or any of that. So I don't even know why we're introducing her, but I'm welcoming Misha Green, our new editor of the Washington Informer.
Well, thank you so much for having me on WIN TV. It's so exciting to be here and be with the Washington Informer. I am just elated to finally get to call myself the managing editor here. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
No, I think it's great, Misha. One of the things that I really liked about you, and I've said it a couple times. One, you're from Washington. You have an appreciation of DC, and folks from DC know what that means. You know DC. You appreciate the Black press and understand and value its role. And there's a term that I love. I'm gonna keep using it. You know, she calls herself, which we're all gonna adopt, a fearless storyteller. So tell us first a little bit about your background, and then I want you to expound on that fearless storyteller part.
Yes. So first of all, thank you again for that beautiful introduction, y'all. It signs my checks, but I need to pay her to do that for me all the time. You sort of summed it up. I'm from Washington, D.C., and I'm very passionate about the Black press. My background starts in the arts. I was a theater major. I went to Duke Ellington School of the Arts. Shout out DCPS and shout out Duke Ellington. And I went on to Fordham University and majored in theater performance. But journalism sort of was always in the background. I ended up becoming a communications minor while at Fordham, and then sort of started getting gigs as an actor that sort of felt more like a journalist. I was reading from a teleprompter and sharing information. And long story short, I ended up going back to school to University of Maryland. So shout out the Terps, who were doing very well in the basketball, both women and men. So shout out to all of our Terps fans out there. Um, but yeah, I went to University of Maryland's Philip Merrill College of Journalism and really got an understanding of what it means to be a strong storyteller. And that's actually where I got the term fearless journalist. This sort of part of UMD's slogan is fearless, whatever, fearless scientist, fearless physician. And so it was fearless journalist. And so I really think I'm a storyteller because I don't necessarily think we as journalists can say that we are only boxed into one category, if you will, particularly these days. I think, what we do is really important in sharing news with the larger community. And particularly why I'm passionate about the Black press is that, the history of storytelling for African Americans and for people of African descent is so deep rooted. We know the griot was the most important person in tribes and still remains to this day in many African tribes. And so being responsible for telling our stories and sharing information with our community is so incredibly important to me and exciting for me. And it's just something I'm very passionate about. So that's my background. That's how I've ended up here. And in between journalism school and where I am today, I've worked at several publications who I've learned a lot from. I was most recently at the Baltimore Sun as a features content editor, and I don't have to tell the folks out there, but maybe I do. Baltimore and DC are only 45 minutes apart from one another, but the cities are very different, and so it's great to be back home. And I just thank you again, Miss Denise, for this wonderful opportunity.
Well, I'm going to give you permission to also mention where you also work, because one of the things about us in the Black press, we always try to figure out how come they forgot about us, and that's where we've sometimes gotten our start.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to give a shout out to the Afro newspaper, because that's where I first met you, Misha, when you were working there. And I watched you over the years, and I said, she's really got a gift. And if there's ever a time, when I can invite her to join us here, I would definitely do that. And it's amazing how the stars align. But, one of the oldest Black newspapers in the country, and you had a chance to serve there. And so I think we're all proud of you.
Yeah, I will always shout out my Afro fam. You're right. It's where I got my start. It's where a lot of amazing journalists got their start. And they definitely helped me sort of get my feet wet into what it means to be a member of the Black press and really take on that role and responsibility of sharing important news with our community. So absolutely shout out to the Afro and all of the folks there still doing amazing work. But I think it's really important also to show sort of that the Black press, we really do work together in so many ways. And so I'm very excited to take the lessons that I've learned from, many publications, and as I've been saying in many of my sort of introductory quotes, I'm ready to take a line from John Lewis and make really, really, really good trouble.
All right. I also want to ask you too, Misha, when we think about the Black press, but particularly those that work for Black publications, a lot of us, are kind of, I hate to say it because I am it, but we're part of Over the Hill gang now. We've been at this a long time. And to bring in a new generation that understands not only I think the significance of still having a print publication, but digital, because that's where you all are, and quite honestly, that's where the folks who are watching the show are.
Yes.
They're on their iPads or their computers, or maybe even on their mobile phones, and they're connected to Facebook and YouTube and all of that. So, but I would like for you to just even share, how some people believe that younger folks don't have an appreciation for the Black press or for Black-owned media. I haven't seen that. And with you being here, to me, is another example or proof of that. But can you talk about that a little bit as well?
Yes. First of all, I want to shout out all those tuning in right now. We appreciate that so much. And so, because you are supporting the Black press and tuning in, make sure you share this stream, okay? That's how we continue to get the information out there. As I like to say, sharing is caring. And I know this is something that I really care about, and you do as well. So go ahead and share this stream. But to answer your question, young Black people absolutely care about the Black press. First of all, we're in a very amazing but unique time, and where anything Black owned is cool and trending, and that's great. We know that a lot of that has come from really unfortunate stories in the news and sort of the history of systemic oppression that we've had in this country. But finally, people are celebrating Black-owned everything. And so that includes Black-owned media. And what I'm seeing is a lot of Black people, young Black people in particular, working to support, consume, digest, and always things that relate back to Black ownership. And that's really exciting. And so while mainstream media has been, something that the masses go to for information, people are going to the Black press in particular because they truly trust us for the news that they're getting. We're breaking things down in a way that they can understand, relates to them, as well as understand the reason that we're doing this work, which is that it needs to get out there for the community. And so I'm really excited about it. All of my friends are really excited that I'm here and they're sharing it. All of my friends who I've told to make sure they subscribe said they would do it. And I'm side-eyeing you if you haven't. So make sure and get the hard copy paper. It is a complete myth that young people don't like that hard copy. And so all of the folks out there who are taking in this digital media, we appreciate you. But go ahead and pick up the paper. It's a beautiful paper this week, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Well, that's it. This is Misha Green, the new managing editor of the Washington Informer. Misha, I'm so glad to have you on board. And I will also say that you will be seeing Misha here on WIN TV. I'm going to take a couple little breaks, and you can tell she can handle this as well. So, if you ever need to reach out to her, Misha, you want to give your email address?
Absolutely. You all can reach out to me at mgreen@washingtoninformer.com. And remember, that's green like the color, no E at the end. And also feel free to reach out on Twitter as well. It's at Misha, Micha P Green. I love to have conversations. I need to know what kind of news that you all are interested in getting. I need to know the issues in the community. And so I'd love for you all to reach out on me there. Thank you so much.
Yeah, she just gave.
Oh, again, it's at Misha P Green, Micha P Green on Twitter. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Thank you, Misha. So we just have this we can't really shut down and gracefully leave. She's just going to kind of slide.
I'm going to slide off.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Misha.
you.
And yeah, we got a newspaper to put together next week. But this is our new managing editor, and I'm really, really excited to have her with us. We've had a great team of people over the years, and you all know that. You've known folks that we've worked with in the past. But you know, this is a new year and a new time, and so thank you so much. And you know, if you want to, just give her a shout out, tell her welcome. Go on Twitter, as you said, and there's a little photograph of her out there where she's announcing that she's here. And yeah, so, you know, make sure you reach out to her and just join us and welcome her here to the Washington Informer. So, as I said, we are going to talk about Seed Excel School, and I am so excited to bring on Lisa Butler McDougall oh, there you are, Lisa. How are you? Welcome to Win TV.
Guess I should take my mic off mute. It's great to be here. Good to see you again, Denise.
Likewise. So, you know, we're excited over here. I guess you saw that we have a new editor on board, and you know, this is one of those show he's putting together these women power shows, and you fall right into that category with what you're doing at Seed Excel. So I'm glad that you're here with us because, as you said, you've done a lot of work in PR. You're really in the grass. When they talk about grassroots, you are really in it now.
Yeah.
Right. So talk to us about Seed Excel's mission and a little bit more about your organization.
Okay. Sewing Empowerment and Economic Development is the organization that SEED stands for. We're a community nonprofit. We were founded by Refreshing Spring Church of God in Christ located in Riverdale. We also have offices in Detroit and Wayne County, Michigan as well. Through emergency food, diapers, community services, housing counseling, financial literacy, affordable housing, in addition to education, we're trying to create communities where individuals are empowered, where families are strengthened, and the actual community is transformed. And one of the key pieces of that, of course, is our young people. We provided daycare. We provided summer enrichment. We're the only site in Prince George's County that operates the Children's Defense Fund Freedom School program. There's several in DC. We're the first and still the only one located in Prince George's County. And in 2006, Excel Academy was founded, but it was founded by another organization. During that time, I actually had 2 children that attended that school. C began working with them and ultimately became the operator of Excel Academy. Excel Academy is a one-of-a-kind education institution. And I say that because we have 4 pillars: character development, college and career readiness, community partnerships, and cultural arts. It runs a full gamut of making sure that young people are able to function and receive a holistic education that will allow them to be able to function in the community and at large. We're one of the first charter schools, the only charter school that's going to be administering the International Baccalaureate program. Excel was founded on a very deep-rooted, the founder was actually had been a teacher for 40 years. So the approach was one not of a top-down, but very much a grassroots approach, in making sure that students are able to understand holistically and have a well-rounded approach to education. The International Baccalaureate program became a reasonable next step for us in the future of education. Children are learning now, and COVID setbacks, first of all, cause huge gain or huge setbacks. We've seen huge gains, and not just with our school, but other schools in Prince George's County as well, from students who are working really hard to meet the county standards, but to just recover what they've lost. So while some factions of the media are only reporting that kids are doing horribly as a result of COVID, we're here to say that kids are recovering remarkably. They have a long way to go. We see that, but they're on the right track.
Yeah, I want to jump in a little bit because you would have said everything, and I'll say, okay, bye.
I'm sorry.
No, that's good. That's good because you have a story to tell, and I think that's really great. First of all, I want to establish the fact that Seed Excel is in Prince George's County. I want to make that very clear because we do have a lot of folks in from DC, and a lot of times we we're trying to do more to make sure that we acknowledge those institutions in the county. Just like DC, I mean, we are hearing some pretty horrific stories about what's happening with young people. And it's a hard sell sometimes for, I would think, for individuals like you to get that other side of the story told. And so, how many young people or in the community are you serving? Families are you serving? And where do you see the impact of what you're doing?
Excel Academy has 400 students. Our goal is to increase that number over the coming years, and there are provisions that we're putting in place now to be able to do that. We see the impact just in all of our work growing exponentially. When we look at the amount of emergency food that we serve close to 90,000 residents of Prince George's County last year. Everyone that we provide work for in the community, we also provide those same services for the students in our charter school. We think the impact has been great because while the economy is, we're in a recession where we're understanding what the economic impact is on that, but there are still people who are able to get jobs. As they're getting those jobs, there are people that are willing and are able to move into homeownership. And so we're making sure that they have the full training, the housing counseling, all the pieces that they need in order to be able to move forward into fulfilling those dreams. The key piece around Excel Academy, again, is the pillars that we've chosen: the cultural arts, college and career readiness, community partnerships, and character development, all fit within a holistic approach to making sure that students are able to function as we're coming out of this type of into a new economy, into a new just really a progression of how information is shared and how students are learning. And so we're excited about that.
I'm not sure if you shared the grade levels of the students that you work with.
We're a K-8 academy. So we start at kindergarten and go up through 8th grade.
Okay.
Students in our school go into specialty programs into the county. They go into science and tech. They go into cultural arts. Many choose other schools because of their sports direction. But we can truly say we started at K-5 and continue to grow into middle school.
And how long have you served as Seed Excel's president?
Since 2011.
Okay, all right. So what got you into this whole education field, Lisa? Because this is, like I said, you have jumped into the pot.
Community service.
Yeah.
It's interesting. From my time at the Children's Defense Fund and organizing communities around children, from time at Freddie Mac and making sure that policies were put in place to make sure that minority homeownership can be met. And then just work with Walls Communications and working with different organizations that serve communities of color and representing corporate sponsors along those areas. It came a time where I just wanted to roll my sleeves up. Give me 100,000 families, give me 10,000 families, give me 100 families, and let's move those families from dependency to self-sufficiency. Let's figure out what the family will need. It's the education of their children, empowerment around their finances, making sure that they are participating, don't get run over by the American dream, meaning that they don't buy more house that they can afford. But most importantly, I had children. I have 2 children that matriculated through Excel Academy. And it came a time when I was looking for a place for them. They could have gone to their community school, which was an excellent school where we live in Prince George's County. But I wanted a little bit more. And that's the beauty of school choice. It is not a private school. It is a public school. In the state of Maryland, charter schools are public schools. They are governed by a covenant with the Maryland State Department of Education, and in Prince George's County with the Prince George's County School Board. We are able to bring our own unique brand of education to the community through charter agreements that we have. It was a no-brainer for me when I learned about Excel and I was looking for somewhere for my 3rd grader to go. Following that, actually, Yes, third grader. Following that, my next son and my youngest son also matriculated through Excel Academy. My middle son went on to North Carolina A&T, went on to high school, went on to North Carolina A&T, and is now an associate producer with ABC. My youngest also student at North Carolina A&T. So we know that the type of foundation that is being laid for the students at that school is one that will allow them to continue to flourish. We have students at Ohio State. We have students that went through Thomas Pullen and are now in School of the Arts in New York. And so there is definitely a good foundation in each piece of our pillars that's allowing our students to excel as they move into education and other careers.
And what about parental involvement? You know, that's one of the challenges a lot of schools have is just, and we understand, I mean, we know both sides of that story, why, you know, why they don't or why they do, but how is that impacted or brought into the whole Excel curriculum or day? How do you include parents?
The governing body of our charter schools in Prince George's County and throughout the state are governed by governing boards. We have parent representatives on those boards. They not only are able to be involved in the day-to-day activities in their students' classrooms, of course, working with their scholars at home, but they're also able to be a part of that decision-making body. In addition to that, we have parent councils that are grade level in our schools that are able to work with the teachers, that are able to work with the cohort leaders and the academic facilitator and our leadership in the school to make sure that the parents' voices are heard. In addition to that, we provide services for our parents. We have 2 social workers in our school that actually work with the parents to make sure that they're okay, that they've come out of this situation and that they can understand the situation that we all just came out of, and that they can understand how to advocate on behalf of their student and what role they can play and exactly how to do that. That's a little intimidating. Not everyone had parents like ours. Some had parents who were just very busy. Others had parents who were that had their focus split for whatever reason, but it doesn't mean that they don't care about what the education of their children. It just really means that they need someone to hold their hand and help them from kindergarten through 8th grade to understand exactly what that means. And we're able to provide that at different levels at Excel Academy.
Right. And as a public charter school, it's most schools are open, right?
Mhm.
And kids have an opportunity to go, like you said, where they want. And if this is a school, you said choice is important. But what does it take for a young person is there an application process? How do you become a student at Seed Excel?
Charters in Prince George's County are applied through the lottery process. Through the Prince George's County Public Schools website, it's right there prominent on the website. Through the Excel Academy website, which is listed there, it's one of the first things that you'll see is how to enroll and how to go through the lottery process. There, we actually have a virtual open house on December the 12th at 6 p.m. We have another open house in January in person. If you go to our website, you'll be able to find information and also how to register. The lottery application process is not hard at all. It does a long time. There's information about all the charter schools in Prince George's County and all of our charters. I sit on the board of the Maryland Alliance of Public Charter Schools. So while Excel is my baby, all of our charters are great in Prince George's County. Excel is the one they want to go to though. And so we're just excited about the future for charters in the state of Maryland, the work that's been done in making sure that we're able to continue to provide this level of choice for parents in Prince George's County and in the state.
So when they come, I'm when my boys were in school, I don't think they had started charters yet. It seems like it's a million years ago. Yeah, but I mean, for a parent, I mean, what do you have to provide? Is there anything in the application process you need to have in place before you sit down and do that virtual application? To make sure that they've got everything that they need, proof of residence or anything like that.
It's going to be proof of residency. If your student is already in a school in Prince George's County, you're going to need their student number. If they're not, if they're going into kindergarten for the first time, you're going to need to go to your boundary school and obtain a student number as if you were registering them. Just don't register them for that school though. You want to go to your website and choose Excel Academy. That's pretty much the basic information, but it's all broken down there. The lottery is open until February the 10th of next year. So you still have time. But I always tell people it's a random lottery, it's computer generated. But I always tell people get in early. Get the school that you choose early. We always have a waiting list of a couple of hundred students per grade. And so we want to make sure that those that are really interested and that are going to be able to benefit from this quality choice education are going to be able to obtain it. Also, we are moving to a state-of-the-art new facility in Fort Washington, 6700 Bach Road. So we're shouting out to all of our parents that are in the southern portion of the county. There are no charter schools down there. The most south you can get is near Andrews Air Force Base or Temple Hills. So we're really looking forward to our families in Glass Manor and Oxon Hill and even Temple Hills in the areas that's surrounding there to go to your website now. Enroll in that lottery, get in while you can. We're going to be improving or increasing the number of students that we're going to be serving in this wonderful facility. And we're very excited. It's the old National Christian Academy site.
Yeah, not too
Right
far.
on
I
Bach
know, it's right
Road.
down the street, right? Yeah,
Yep, directly across the street from the National Church of God. So we're
wonderful.
excited about that. We're encouraged with our families that are going to be traveling with us and making sure that we provide as much information and provision as we can to make sure that they continue to go with us. And we're just excited about what the future is going to hold for the wonderful students that are going to be joining us and the incredible experience that they're going to have.
Well, I thank you so very much for being with us today and for sharing your school story with us and also helping to educate us a little bit about the charter school process. So it was really great. And we hope the parents will go out and get their children enrolled sooner than later.
Absolutely.
Competition is tight, which is a great thing. So thank you very much for being with us, Lisa. And we will maybe chat with you again in the future.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thanks much. And we've got Annalisa, who's going to join us now. I don't know if you all know about the Washington Association of Black Journalists, but she's the Vice President of WABJ. And, it's a wonderful thing that we have this organization that's a part of Washington, D.C. We're trying to get her loaded now. We cannot see her. We see her name, but we can't see her image. So for some reason, she's not coming in. But I know I'll just share a little bit while we try to get this straightened out. The Washington Association of Black Journalists will be hosting a wonderful event in excellence, looking at journalists in the DMV who have really provided a lot of excellent journalism, who've been, I think, in this career for many years, who've worked for not only the Black press, but others. And I have to say that because one of our colleagues, Misha and myself, will be honored on next week. And that is none other than Hamil Harris. I think many of you know Hamil. He's been a guest with us on WIN TV and has written also for the Washington Informer. There she is, Lisa.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It kicked me out, but I'm back.
Good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Denise?
I'm well. I'm now that you can tell the story right, because I'm just like talking about WABJ. I was going to talk about NABJ. But
I'm excited. Sorry about that. I'm
That's
glad
okay.
this worked out. This is my first time using this stream. I like it. I like the show. The show is really good. I'm very excited about this. I got to tune in more often.
Yeah, please do. Please do. We certainly love to have you tune in and to be in with us, to talk about all the things that you're doing. So you're Vice President. Tell folks what WABJ is in case folks don't know.
Right. So WABJ is the local chapter of the National Association of Black Journalists. So we have chapters all over the country, all across the country. Actually, some of the founders of the National Association of Black Journalists are from the DC area, like Sam Ford. Did a podcast with him one time about the story about how they came together with this for this idea to create an organization for Black journalists. That was a pretty cool story. I think I still have it on my blog, annalisagale.com. Yeah, it's just
And
really cool. Sam
Dorothy
Ford,
Gilliam. We have to
yeah,
mention
legend
Dorothy
in the
Gilliam.
DMV.
Right.
Works for Channel 7 for a long time. Long story short, he and others started this organization known as the National Association of Black Journalists, and that birthed several chapters because people needed to connect in a smaller community versus just once a year at the convention. So the Washington Association of Black Journalists, the chapter for the DC area, is a way for us to create a community of Black journalists here in the DMV region. Coming from the idea of Black journalists need a community. Sometimes, some newsrooms may not be as diverse, or the industry may not be as diverse. And so they need a place where they can feel supported. So that's what we offer. We have panel discussions about topics pertaining to how to overcome burnout, or how to move up in the industry if you're interested in finding a job or continuing on into a management position. We offer resources to find jobs. We have mentors. We started a mentorship program this year, this year. And we also have the urban journalism workshop, which is a big initiative of ours, which has birthed many great big names in the industry. And actually the deadline for DC area high school students who want to apply for this upcoming term is January. So please apply if you're
And
interested.
that's housed over at
Yeah.
Howard University, right? Isn't that where you use the students there at this time?
I'm not really sure where we're having the workshops this term, but yes, we partner with several universities.
Right.
The pandemic obviously shifted how we did things for a little bit, because I believe some of it had to be virtual because of concerns over COVID for a while there. But yes, things are looking like they're back in full swing in terms of being in person now. So if you have a high school student that's interested in becoming a journalist, definitely apply. We have details on our Twitter page and also on our website, wabjdc.org.
Well, we appreciate that, because it's those young people who help to keep the industry alive and make sure that we continue to have representation. So I think WABJ is doing a wonderful job with that locally. But you got a big event coming up on the 10th.
Yes, I got to tell you about it. And if you don't buy your tickets by today, I'm hearing that maybe it doesn't work out because it's going to be sold out here soon. On Saturday, December 10th, 6 p.m. at the Eaton Hotel, that's on K Street in the 1200 block. Tickets available at wabjdc.org/special honors. It's sponsored by Bill and Melinda Gates, the foundation. And so this is like the first time we've had an event like this, where we have, at least in the last 5 years since I've been here. I've been in the DMV for 6 years. This is the first time WABJ has hosted an event like this. So this is a pretty big deal, an opportunity for us to honor Black journalists who are doing great things. The Lifetime Achievement Award going to Adele Banks from Religion News Service. The Legacy Award going to Hamil Harris, formerly of the Washington Post. He's also a professor this semester at Howard. Journalist of the Year going to Tracy Wilkins from NBC4 Washington. Prince George's County reporter, does an amazing job. You all know her. Young Journalist of Excellence, Nolan McCaskill. He writes for the Los Angeles Times about politics. Nolan has been doing really well with the work that he does to tell stories that help the Black community. Excellence in Communications going to Lon Walls of Walls Communications. So lots of big names in terms of people who've been doing great work and that we recognize for sure.
No, that's wonderful. It's fantastic. And of course, those are names that are pretty familiar to most of us who are in the media, but even those who aren't, like you said, you mentioned Hamil. Hamil's worked also for not only Washington Post, and teaching, but Afro and the Informer, teaching in high school. He's at Archbishop Carroll now, working with young folks there, and then as well as who else did you mention? I think Tracy. Wasn't she
Yes.
with HUR before? Did she? Uh,
Tracy, I don't know. I believe so, but you know,
mhm.
she's worked in the DMV for many years. First as a
Well,
producer for NBC Washington, then worked her way up to on air. She's now
exactly.
celebrating 20 years in the industry.
Yes, indeed, and a real not pioneer. She's not old enough to be a pioneer yet, but a real advocate for positive news coming out of Prince George's County. I love her reporting. I think she does a wonderful job. So you all did good. I don't know, how did you decide on your honorees?
So we had a poll that we submitted asking people to submit names, and then we had a committee that took a look and voted on who they thought would be the best fit for each category.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I guess we're not really trying to sell tickets because it sounds like you all might be sold out by the end of the day today, but we could still I think Sherry's put the information up and folks can still sign up. But I want
Yes.
to ask you, Annalisa, I remember back in the day when there was before the WABJ, when there's a Capitol Press Club, and there was always this push, that organization of reporters and PR folks, and always had to push to make sure there was representation, Black representation in media here in Washington. And it seems like there's still this sort of balance that's taking place to make sure that we are that all people are represented in media. What role is WABJ having to play in making sure that we are Black journalists are still getting jobs and getting paid equitably and that kind of thing?
Well, I feel like thankfully most newsrooms recognize the importance of having Black journalists in their newsrooms, especially in a city like Washington, D.C. So thankfully we are not fighting against that. We do see and recognize that we are a lot of newsrooms are seeing Black journalists as an asset. So I have noticed that they're, in terms of hiring, they are definitely hiring Black journalists here in the DMV region, and making sure that we're represented, which is nice. But I think one thing that we've been really doing in the last couple of years is just focusing on mentorship to make sure that when people get to these places, they know how to thrive and not just get there and then it's just another job.
No, that's fantastic because I've heard those stories too. So it's good to have. I mean, that's why WABJ I think is so important because of what you do, which is a wonderful thing. And in addition to your job in the media and being vice president of WABJ, you found a little time to carve out to write a book, I understand. So what's coming down the pike, or is it out already?
Yeah, let me reach over to my couch. So this is my book. I wrote a little, I call it a little book. I wrote a little book. It was supposed to be just an ebook at first. I started it at the height of the pandemic. I had a little more downtime because I wasn't going out as much. I was in the house, didn't have nothing really to do. So I was like, I need to just release this creative energy. So I started writing, and mostly what I thought about immediately was the fact that I get a lot of people reaching out to me for help, and I've helped a lot of people just land their first job, and even some folks that landed in this market I've mentored at some point. And so I was thinking, how can I help more people beyond, because sometimes I may not have time to really invest into everyone, because I ran a mentorship program with we had about 12 students, or maybe 9, 9 or 12 students. And I was already investing energy into that. So I really thought, how can I help more people with less time? And so this is a good way for me to do that. I wrote about some of the mistakes I've made, things I wish I knew back when I started. This was a book mainly for a younger me, things I wanted to know before I got into this, no offense, crazy business. It can be a little bit hard to navigate if you aren't, have some mental toughness there. You got it really takes a lot of tenacity to survive this business for many years, which is why we're very excited to honor people like Tracy. And it really is a job that you give your all, and sometimes it does not give you back anything,
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, if I can help young journalists figure out ways to make it easier for them when they start out, when they get there, I hope it helps. Balance is very important. I've been trying to figure that out as I move up. It can be hard sometimes because journalism, like we said, we're giving it our all at all times. It's 24/7. It doesn't stop.
Right.
There are news alerts all the time.
Tell us about it. What's the name of the book, Annalisa? Because you
the
put it
book
up,
is
but
called,
it's like you hid it from us.
Sorry about that. It's called Stand By, a guide for aspiring and early career broadcast journalists. I'll probably expound on it at some point in the next couple years. I'm gonna take a little break. I released it this summer. Take a break.
Yeah. How can people get it?
Yeah, so this is actually available right now. Walmart.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Apple Books. On my site, I have a link, but it's probably better to order from one of those sites. Walmart.com, BarnesandNoble.com.
Because I do know a couple of folks who are struggling through the process, and you try to keep them encouraged.
Yes.
So I think they would love to have that. Hopefully you'll have some at maybe, I don't know if you'll be selling them at the dinner, but
I will, now that you brought it up, I will try to get some copies ordered by that time. I got you.
I'm sure you're going to have a bunch of folks in that room will say, I think I need to read this. So that's
Thank
good.
you.
Well, thank you so very much for being with us. And, as we talk about other issues regarding media, we certainly would like to have you come back again and watch, like you said, and, wish you all great success on the 10th.
Thank you so much, and keep up the great work. I love what you guys are doing. I'm an adjunct at Howard this semester, and I've definitely been promoting you guys to my students. Hopefully, I will get them involved in some way in the future. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you. Well, as usual, we have these great conversations and then time runs over, and we want to give everybody the time that we promised, especially our next guest, Irene Whalen, who's the owner of Zawadi African Gallery and Boutique, because I know that you all are itching today, despite the rain and whatever's supposed to come tomorrow, to go shopping. And we want to tell you where you need to go tomorrow, right, Irene?
We do. Thank you for having me here. It's very exciting to be here, and it's an exciting time of year. Of course, it's retailers' best time of year, so we're looking very much forward to it, and we're very excited with what we have to offer.
It's troubling to think that we went through COVID, which had a devastating impact, particularly on small businesses. A lot of them have not come back yet. And especially here in DC, because we're losing so much foot traffic and what have you. But you all were able to survive that period, or are surviving through this period. And you're there on U Street, so you're in a place where there's a lot of foot traffic. But really, really stress to us why, supporting businesses like yours or supporting Zawadi right now is so important.
Right. And that is so true. We're just coming out of the pandemic in a way that we can say the future looks more optimistic. It was certainly a very, very difficult time, and there's still areas that we have to recover from. We were fortunate in that we had an e-commerce site already set up, and that we had such a wonderful, loyal audience who had shopped here over the years, and who made a conscious effort to continue to support, knowing how difficult it was for small businesses. And then we had We did get some federal money, and that was a real blessing because otherwise we would not have been able to pay suppliers, artists, and of course the rent. Um, we still continue to fill those gaps, as I said, and we look forward to the holidays so much. I think a lot of Black businesses rely on the holidays to get them through the first 3 months of the year. And so we can't indicate enough how important this period is to us and to the other Black businesses that I know are still struggling. And we have great product. I mean,
Right.
just here and saying buy us because we're Black. We have great product.
What's your address there on U Street, Irene?
We are at 1524 U, between 15th and 16th, just across from the church, so it's easy to find, and we have a big sign.
Right, 1524 U Street.
Yes.
Right, wonderful. And so, what are your hours?
Again, as fallout from the pandemic, we reduced our days from 5 days a week to 3 days a week. But for the holiday season, we will essentially recover hours and be open from Tuesday through Sunday, starting the weekend of December 10th.
Okay.
So we typically were not open on Sundays, but we will be open on December 11th, December 17th. And for those last minute shoppers, yes, we'll be here Christmas Eve until 4 o'clock. I know that there will be at least 1 or 2 people, falling through the door at 3 o'clock on Christmas Eve. So we'll wait for you until 4 o'clock. But we will post our hours on the website, and we will post our hours on our voicemail so people know that we have extended the number of days we are open.
And so let me get down to the good stuff now. What do you all? Tell us a little bit about how the name Zawadi, how you came up. The kind of merchandise you normally carry in the store, and then what have you are going to provide that's holiday oriented? I know we talked about ornaments, but what do you have?
The name Zawadi comes from Kiswahili, which I studied when I was in graduate school, and it means gift. And so when I was looking for an appropriate name, I wanted to connect it to Africa very much. And I thought that I needed something that I at least knew a little bit about. I speak a little Kiswahili, not much, but a little bit. And that seemed to be the perfect name. We opened in 1992, which, was a very different time in DC, and a time that was really exciting and optimistic. And there were so many entrepreneurs providing creative, cultural gifts and activities. When I say we, I guess I should say I had worked in Africa for the previous 10 years and had seen all that beauty and all that creativity. And I wanted to bring it back here. There were things I was seeing that I just wanted to be able to share and to give a venue for the African artists. And that was where I started, and in some ways where I am now, still trying to promote all that beauty, still trying to promote artists from different parts of the continent, and also promoting Black artists here.
Wonderful.
We have any number of events over the year where we have pop-ups for African American artists or artists from the continent or artists from the Caribbean. And, we see that as a very, very important part of who we are and what we do, because from what I can see, there are not enough venues for artists.
Right.
Um,
So,
and just given sometimes an opportunity, artists just burst out. And so we are continuing to do that. And on the 10th, we will actually have a local artist, Tonya Butler Truesdale, in to show off some of her art. I knew her as a lawyer, but
right, exactly.
she has this other aspect of her life. And,
Amazing.
we
Yeah.
are very happy to give her this opening for herself, for me, and for the consumers who come in.
And what
December
kind of
7th.
holiday gifts are you what can folks expect to find there at Zawadi? I mean, we talked about the art, but what about other kinds of,
Well,
gifts?
we have an array of gifts. Some are distinctly set up for the holiday. So we start off our holiday with the handcrafted ornaments that have been part of our tradition for the last 15 years.
Wow.
And we pull in unique pieces, unique handcrafted pieces that you can't find anywhere. So we have artists like Paula Whaley, who is very well known for her uh, sculptural pieces, who makes angels for us. And we have other artists from Atlanta, and we have artists from Africa who are also making angels or stars or just wonderful art pieces. So
Right.
and we've added a glass artist, Steve Hazard from out of Charleston, who generally just does beautiful glass work, but he's made very special glass ornaments for us. So we're really excited about that part. We have other jewelry, we have clothing, and of course we have the traditional sculpture. We have the black calendars that
Nice.
sometimes people look for and just can't find, but we have.
Exactly.
And of course, we have black cards. So we have the items around the holidays. And let me not forget Kwanzaa. We have great gifts for Kwanzaa.
Wonderful.
So we cover the gamut of possibilities for things that people are looking for, that are unique in many ways, and some of them are one of a kind. So we feel that this is a good opportunity to give that special gift that will be remembered, years after.
And I think that's wonderful. I'm really glad you could join us because, I mean, this is a tough time for some people financially, but to be able to give that special gift, as opposed to
Right.
running to wherever to get whatever, let's
Yes.
we can invest in a gift and in the person that you're giving it to. So I'm
Exactly.
really, really excited that Zawadi will be open Christmas Eve. So
Yes.
but again, you're located at 1424 U Street. 1524 U Street. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, it is close to the Green Line if people don't want to drive, because I know there's often concern with the parking. So if it's a beautiful day, it's a 2-block walk. And we will also run out and give you your gift if you are in a parking emergency. So we try to be sensitive to customer needs.
Wonderful.
And of course, we have zawadiarts.com where you can order online. And, if orders are made by, I would say, the 10th of the month, you get them by the holidays. Beyond that, we can't guarantee.
Right. So by the 10th. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad you were here to join us today and to give people some direction about where they should go spend their money this holiday season. I'm hoping that you will be just overwhelmed with customers, because I think it's really important that we do support, our businesses, especially at this time of year while we're out there spending money. So
Thank you so much.
I
We
wish
want to
you
see
best.
the line around the block.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Irene. It's good to see you.
Bye.
All righty. Well, that's it for this edition of Win TV. We've always, we try to end at 1, but we always run over because, hey, folks have a lot to say, and I always like to listen. So if I were on another major network, I would have lost my job by now. But that's the thing about ownership. You can do what you want to do. Even though Chevy's like, let's go. But no, I hope that you enjoyed all of our guests today. I think that they've shared some great information, things that you can participate in. We want you to always be a part of the Washington community, and that's why we try to share as much information with you as we can. We want you to, next week, we have a good show. We're going to stay in the holiday spirit. So we'll be talking about a holiday trivia game for Black families. And so I don't know if you all were like us, but on Thanksgiving, we're pulling games out the closet, trying to figure out what we as a family could play. So Black trivia game, holiday trivia game sounds like it would be a good one. And of course, we'll have a segment that'll be sponsored by Pepco. And they're going to be talking about the gift of energy and storm preparation for customers. May not sound all that interesting, but it's one of those things that you really do. As my daddy used to say, you want to have the information. That it's better to have it than not have it. And so we're so happy that Pepco is going to be with us to share about more information about the gift of energy and storm preparation. This is really important for all of us in the DMV. We just don't know, when these snowstorms come, and then we're trying to figure out, why my electricity's off or what I could have done and should have done. We're going to have all that taken care of. So that's it for me this week. I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend. If you have any information or news or anything you want to share with us, remember you can always reach out to us at news, NEWS, at WashingtonInformer.com. That's news, NEWS, at WashingtonInformer.com. Until next week, have a great weekend.